Welcome everyone to Raw Dog Game Reviews. I'm the Raw Dog, and this is what we do here at Raw Dog Game Reviews. I'm going to review a game I recently played. But here's the catch. There's no script and no editing. I'm just going to ramble on my review for the game, off the top of my head, off the cuff if you will. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to it, and let's go in Raw Dog. Okay, so this time we're reviewing King Arthur, A Knight's Tale. Now, I had this one up on my first impression, so if you remember from there, I was really liking the game. It's a really good game. So, yeah, it hasn't changed. My opinion has not changed. It's amazing. I love this game. I'm really deep into turn-based strategy games, so this game was right up my alley. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's just the graphics are good, the game is good, the gameplay is really fun, the story is fun. It's a good game all around. If you're into turn-based strategies and you're into like Arthurian lore, you're gonna like it. It's a really good game. I mean, I just really love turn-based strategy, so I couldn't help but just love playing it. The strategy involved in it is really good too. I love the way the game played out. It was just really good, really good. Okay, so that's enough of a little preamble. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Graphics. The game's graphics are good. They're good. The gameplay, when you're in gameplay, it looks really nice. The maps look really nice. The character models look really nice. They're really fun to engage with. It moves really well on the map. The combat sequences look really good. The techniques you use in combat look really good. Everything just works really good. But the only thing I would say about the graphics is this: the cutscenes. The cutscenes, well, okay, I can't say that. They also looked really good. But the problem I have was the teeth and the faces. Like, I don't know if they did that on purpose, but the Lady of the Lake, who shows up a lot, and pretty much one of the only other people that shows up in the cutscenes, you pretty much only have Mordred and the Lady of the Lake speaking in cutscenes. The two of them, Mordred has his helmet on, thank God, but the Lady of the Lake, her face looks like frightening, and her teeth are so weird. It's like she has a mouthful of gigantic buck teeth, and they're all just like, hi there, da 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 da. Yeah, I didn't like it. It looked really weird and annoying, and thank God there were only like 4 cutscenes in the entire game, because that was not fun. It was like, I don't want to watch this. This looks terrible. It just did not look good. But the rest of the game looked really good. Like, the monsters looked really nice. The graphics for the maps looked really nice. The game is really good. So that's a very small point against it. And I mean, it's just the cutscenes, which are like 10 minutes cutscenes, and there's 4 of them. So it's like, in a game that's a good 50 hours long, you got maybe 40 minutes of cutscene. It's not even an hour. You're fine. So yeah. Next. Gameplay? Nah, let's go to story first. Story. So the story is good. I wish the story was better, but it's good. It's a good story, but I wish the story was better. I've heard there's a sequel. I heard it just came out on PC. I'm not really in the PC crowd, so I'm hoping the PC will come to PS5. I'm hoping the sequel will come to PS5 eventually, and yeah, I'm hoping the sequel story is better. But the storyline is basically, hey, King Arthur died, but he died and like got cursed, so his soul was split into 4 pieces. Oh, but wait, we're not going to tell you it was split into 4 pieces at first. We're just going to tell you that his soul got cursed, and now you are Mordred, who is, depending on which mythology you go by for Arthur, could be Arthur's son, could be Arthur's nephew, could be Arthur's friend. Like, yeah, there's a lot of different Arthurian lore. But anyway, so I think he is technically the son of this game. Yeah, I think he is Arthur's son of this game. I think no, because his mother is the witch. So I don't think they were together. So no, I think he's Arthur's like nephew in this one. But anyway, there's different mythologies. Doesn't matter. The point of the matter is you're Mordred. If you know Arthurian lore, you know Mordred. So yeah, you're Mordred. And the Lady of the Lake says, okay, I brought you back to kill Arthur because he's now become the corrupt king. So you have to go kill him. And there you go. That's the storyline. That's it. That's literally it. And then when you complete the first act and kill Arthur, you go to the Lady Lake, and Lady Lake's like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you, there's actually 4 Arthurs. So you've only killed one piece, so you need to go kill the other 3. And then the game just continues. And you get a scene with Lady Lake after each act, which is another killing Arthur. So, I mean, the plotline is really thin. The plotline really is, oh, go kill Arthur. Oh, go kill Arthur again. Oh, go kill Arthur again. Oh, go kill Arthur again. But so the plot is really kind of thin and not great. But it's perfectly fine for what it needs to be. What it needs to be is a really nice turn-based strategy game that is on Arthurian lore. So it does everything it needs to do for that. Hey, you are Mordred. Go collect your round table and go fight the evil king. All they really needed was an excuse to make that work, and it does. So the plot does what it needs to do. It's not great, but it does what it needs to do. Now the end game is kind of interesting. The end game is where like you've now, because you've killed Arthur the 4 times, you've now also, like, the last Arthur was connected to the seal, which sealed the Fomorians. I almost forgot the name. The Fomorians, which are these like giant beast creatures that used to rule the lands. The seal that was blocking them from coming back. And now the last Arthur was connected to that seal. So you've now let them free, and you have to fight the hordes back, and fight the Fomorian king. That's like the end game, which is, honestly, I'm going to say this right now, by the time I got to the end game, I kind of felt like, oh, you could have saved that for the sequel. I feel like I could do this in the sequel, and you could have just let the game finish here. So I was kind of burnt out by that point, and I felt like that could have been sequel territory. But they let you do it for like a good 5 or 6 missions. No, actually, it was like a good 10 missions, where you're now fighting the Fomorians, doing some things. And I mean, I loved the game. It was fun. I kept playing it because it was so much fun. So I didn't really mind too much. But on the storyline factor, I was like, yeah, you probably could have saved this for a sequel. It's fine. But anyway, so that would have been a much better plot line for the rest of the game. Like, you finish Act 1, and that's when it happens. Is, Act 1 finishes, you beat Arthur, and the seal breaks open, and it's like, oh no, now the Fomorians are invading the land. We have to go kill them and fight the war against the Fomorians. And then the rest of the game from Chapter 1 on is a war against the Fomorians. That would have been a slightly more interesting plot line, and it could have gone in different places from there. But instead, it's just a rinse and repeat: kill Arthur, kill Arthur, kill Arthur, kill Arthur. So it's kind of boring. But anyway, honestly, that's the worst thing it does, is be a little boring, because the rest of the game is really good. So, gameplay. The gameplay is awesome. I mean, if you like turn-based strategies, I love turn-based strategies, so I think the gameplay is awesome. But the point of the matter is that you're going to get exactly what you think you're going to get. You get a turn-based strategy. But now the cool thing about it is that you go in turns. Wow, that sounded demeaning. No, I mean, like, some turn-based strategies, you have to go by speed. Like, the fastest character will go first, the next fastest character. No, this one goes in, I guess I should say phases, not turns. Goes in phases. Your phase and enemy phase. You can pick who you want to move, what you want to do during your phase. And you have a certain amount of points to use for each phase. So it's really nice. It gets to be really tactical and really interesting. I really liked how the game flowed in that tactical experience. It was a lot of fun. Although I do have to say that it was also pretty much really easy. I went through the entire game without losing any of my soldiers. Although I do have to say that I did lose a soldier one time. And that soldier got super wiped out. And I kind of got humbled by that fight. Although thankfully I had a revival token because I was saving it for a rainy day. And I was able to bring that soldier back because I really liked that soldier. So, but I only ever used one revival token. And I, again, never lost soldier after that first point. So the game was mostly easy, or at least I found it really easy. And I just wrecked all my enemies all the time. Like, they would give you these... Okay, I should explain this more. So yes, the gameplay, the combat is turn-based strategy. You have the army on one side, your army on this side, and you take your turns. They can move this many squares, they can move this many squares, they can attack this many times. It's a turn-based strategy. It's pretty simple if you've played any other turn-based strategies. Now, the different thing about this is they also get to walk around the map. Now, when you walk around the map, you're just kind of walking around the map. But the map is also where your turn-based strategy happens. So when you find combat, the game just kind of like shifts the map into having a grid, puts you on the grid, and then you're now walking through the grid and doing the combat. But when the game is just walking, you're just walking on the map, and you can explore, find loot. It's really nice. But so where was I going with that? Yeah, so you can walk around the maps and find loot, and it's really interesting stuff. You find a lot of loot, you find a lot of stuff. Oh, so as I was getting for, so go for the bonfires. They have bonfires, or I guess campsites. Campsites. Anyway, you can take rests, and you can you can fix your armor and heal your HP. I had gone through a bunch, and I did get the achievement for going through one mission with never using a campsite. And I went through a lot of missions with using like one campsite or using maybe two if there were two, and like I almost never needed to use a campsite. I found a lot of gear that refilled my armor all the time. Like, oh, when you finish this fight, you get armor back. When you hit this guy, you get this much armor back. When you start a combat, you get this much armor back. And basically, unless you get hit from behind or you get hit like really really hard, you only ever lose armor because you have armor, you have health, and then you have vitality. So pretty much it goes in the form of you have to lose your armor first, then you will lose your health, then you will lose your vitality. And there were all these things where it was like you have to get vitality back like this, you have to put them in the hospital, take this many missions to get their vitality back. I never lost any vitality, ever. Not once in the game did I lose vitality. I never had this at any of my characters in the hospital. Like, I don't know. The game just, I was on normal mode, so I expected the game to be harder. But the game was super easy. That or I'm just really good at turn-based strategy games, which I think I am. But I want to be humble here and say, like, I think the game is just easy. Because I kind of wrecked it. Like, seriously. But the game was still really good, obviously. Which is why I'm saying, like, even though I wrecked it, and even though some of the storyline was kind of boring, I finished the game all the way through. And the end game, even though I was kind of burnt out on the story by then, I still was like, yeah, but the gameplay is really fun. So I just kept playing it and finished the end game, and it was a lot of fun. The game was really good. Now the coolest thing about the characters is how the characters function and like the skills they get to use. You get defenders who are basically your big tank characters. They have a shield and sword. They're big, tanky. They get less movement, but they're really strong and they can take a lot of hits. They have a lot of armor. And you get your scouts, who are basically like your thieves, but they're really quick. They can do serious DPS, and they can't take many hits usually, but some of the other ones can take hits better. And once you get late game, they can start getting better armor to take better hits, so that they can get better. And then you have your mages. I guess alchemists, I think they call them more alchemists, but you have your mages and you have your archers. Now, my team was Mordred, Percival, I forget her name. Her name starts with D. The female archer you get like in the beginning of the game, and then the mage you get that's like her father. That was my team because I was going Tyrant. I was going Christian Tyrant, which I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, that was my team, and I used that team throughout pretty much the entire game. I basically never changed. Now, obviously, that was not entirely true because you don't start out with Percival. Percival is my favorite Night Elf, by the way. But anyway, I started out with different characters. I used Sir Berthold. I think I had his name. I used him for a while as a scout, and then I used Sir Pellas because I was another defender. He was the second defender I found. But then late game, because I was going Christian Tyrant, I got overloaded with defenders, so I had plenty of defenders, but I stuck with Percival because I like him. So I did change a little bit. Pretty much once I got Percival, my team was done. That was my team for the rest of the game. And yeah, the game is it's awesome. I use those characters, 2 defenders, because Percival's a defender, so Mordred's a defender, 2 defenders, a mage, and an archer. And my archer did all the work. She was like a freaking artillery cannon in my team. For a while, I thought about having 2 archers because of how good she was. But then I decided to just have a mage instead, so I could have magic power and archery, which it was good. The mage is good. It was really good for AoE attacks and stuff like that. But anyway, seriously though, I always started the combat using the archer. she would just be like, okay, first hit, she gets this many points. Boom, first hit, kill. Every time she kills, or on the first kill, she gets this many points, so she got even more points back. So then another shot, boom, kill. Another shot, boom, kill. Another shot, boom, kill. She got like 4 hits every turn and was just wiping the floor with enemies. Like, it was ridiculous. I seriously just put her out there and she just took out enemies. It's ridiculous. I love using her. She's amazing. She's great. So if you're gonna play, I highly recommend using her, keeping her up to date in your team. You might start out thinking like, archers, I want to be a combat team. No, use archers. Seriously, they kick ass. So anyway, but yeah, like I said, they have a lot of special skills and a lot of different kind of character types. So yeah, she was really good. She had like a couple poison skills. When she used poison, her arrows would hurt more. So on poisoned enemies. So on the first one, I would go ahead and use a poison shot for her like first shot, and then from there, her next shot would do more damage because the enemy is poisoned. And if I had her walk around the field, the more space she walked, the less points it would take to use her next poison shot. So pretty much, I would like move her a little bit, shoot a nice like 2-point poison shot, get the guy poisoned, shoot another shot if he wasn't already dead. And then, because of the decreased damage because he was already poisoned, would now drop the guy, and now she would get points back because she killed him. And then she would go shoot off another, and because she killed the guy, her cooldown on her poison would go down. So she'd be ready to use poison again, and I would just repeat this process like nothing. It was crazy. She was really a monster on the field. And the mage was doing about the same thing. He was throwing fireballs everywhere, and I was just like, fire, 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 burn, burn, burn. And the more people I lit on fire, the more points he had to do more fire. Like, oh my god. When you get late game and you combo things, like, the game is just crazy. And then I had Mordred being like, shield bash into a guy, kill the guy, then walk over to the next guy and do like 3 more attacks and kill that guy. My Mordred was doing like 4 attacks per battle. So shield bash, attack, walk over to the next guy, attack, attack, attack. It's just dead. Like, my Mordred was wrecking people. It was crazy. And Percival was kind of following suit. He wasn't as much wreckage, but he was still doing good. So it was crazy. I was kicking some serious butt there. Oh, Percival also, his sword lit people on fire automatically. So him and the mage were like double teaming fire attacks, and because he was lighting people on fire, it set up the mage's combo effect where the more people that were on fire gave him more points. It was crazy. And Percival had his own points that if someone was on fire, he did more damage to them. So he lit them on fire just by touching them, so he did more damage. The game was awesome. I can't really say much else about it. It's a really good game. So I think we'll wrap it up there. I think I've just gone on and on enough about this game. So then, let's get into the final points here. The game is really good, really solid, really fun. It's long, but then again, turn-based strategies tend to be long, and I take my time with them, so it ended up being a pretty long game. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention this. The routes. There are 4 possible routes you can go through. Well, technically 2 possible routes. Oh no, 4 possible routes. Because you can go Christian or Old Faith, and you can go Tyrant or Regal. Regal? Oh no, Righteous. Sorry, Tyrant or Righteous. And you can combine them in different ways. Like, you can go, I went Christian Tyrant. You can go Righteous Old Faith. You can go Righteous Christian. You can go Old Faith Tyrant. You can combine them in different ways. So now, I don't like that as much because certain things were locked off because of that, and that kind of bothered me. Like, they have an achievement for finishing the hospital, and I was like, oh, I'll just grab that achievement. But one of the things to finish the hospital was locked behind having this much righteousness. And I was like, oh, I can't get that because I'm not righteous. I'm a Tyrant row. So I'm just locked off from that achievement. I have to play another run-through. I'm not going to play another run-through just for that one achievement. I'm not going to play this game. Same thing with Old Faith. There were some things locked behind Old Faith, like the Alchemist Tower. Oh, well, this thing is locked behind that. I can't do it. So there were a few annoyances like that. Besides that, the game was really strong. The home base that you get to beef out, I really got beefed out pretty well. Had the sword awesomed out. I got really lucky with a lot of equipment. I got really good equipment, and it's really good. So let's wrap this up because I think we're getting close to a good amount of time here. So the game is really good. I highly recommend it. Highly. If you are a fan of turn-based strategies and you are a fan of Arthurian lore, then it is right up your alley and it is really good. I cannot say how much I recommend it on those 2 points. If you are not a fan of turn-based strategy, you probably won't enjoy it. If you are not a fan of Arthurian lore, well, if you like turn-based strategy, you probably could try it and you'll probably like it anyway because the game lives off its combat. I mean, the storyline, the lore is really a side point to the combat because the gameplay, because you're playing the game a lot. The story is not heavily thrown at you, so it's more of the gameplay. And yeah, the gameplay is solid. So as long as you really like turn-based combat and like grids and like stuff like that, you're gonna like it.
Okay, well, that was my raw review. Thanks for listening, and if you liked it and want to hear more, you can like and subscribe. But I'll be back here regardless whether you like it or not, with more raw dog gaming reviews. See you next time. Bye-bye!